Chapter 8. Temple of Union. Adama and Anamar. Greetings and blessings, my beloveds, this is your friend Adama. I am here today with Anamar, one of our elders, who has been living here since the beginning of our life in Telos a little over 12,000 years ago. Anamar lived in Lemuria for over 2,000 years prior to the loss of our continent, and he has maintained the same youthful body for about 14,000 years of your time. He is very tall, energetic and handsome, and looks to be about 35 years of age or even younger. During the time of Lemuria, Anamar and his twin flame built a temple of wondrous beauty called the Temple of Union. This temple was built in honor of the love and union of twin flames. Anamar and his twin flame have been the guardians of that unfed flame of immortal love for the planet ever since. I now step back to allow Anamar to continue. Greetings, I am Anamar. Blessings and love to all those who will read this message. In the time of Lemuria, most men and women shared their lives with their beloved twin flame. That majestic temple was the location for wedding ceremonies. Couples adorned themselves in great beauty and elegance to consecrate their union with the energies of the unfed flame of immortal love. Although this flame of love was extinguished from the surface vibration with the sinking of Lemuria, it has been preserved in the Temple of Union, which was lifted up in its entirety into the fourth dimension when our continent was destroyed. This temple still exists today in the area near Mount Shasta where it was originally located, and is now vibrating at a fifth dimensional frequency. Although the former physical structure no longer exists in your third dimension and cannot be seen in your reality, be assured that it is very real and tangible to us. The temple is very active and continues to perform all the functions for which it was intended from the time it was built. This temple exists in the etheric crystal city of light in the area of Mount Shasta. The city extends approximately 25 to 40 miles in diameter. You have been promised that this wondrous Lemurian city will eventually be lowered into a more physical expression, and many of you will be able to see and enter it upon invitation. You are asking when this is going to happen. The exact time is still unknown, even to us. We anticipate that it will be towards the end of this decade or soon after. When this happens, the temple, along with all the other wonders of the Crystal City, will be available to those who match the vibration in their spiritual development. Aurelia, also known to you as Louise Jones, was involved with this temple in the time of Lemuria. She rediscovered the location of the temple a few years ago while taking walks close to her home in the Mount Shasta area. At first, she recognized that this was a very special place, but could not unveil the mystery. For reasons unknown to her consciousness, she felt drawn to return frequently to our area for walks and meditations. Several times a week we watched her walking up the hill, as she followed the nudging of her heart. It was always with delight and joy, especially the first time, that we watched her. We patiently waited for the day we could communicate with her more directly. Unknown to her outer mind, each time she came she received on the inner plane our warm welcome along with much attention, love and hugs from us. It had been several thousand years since we had an opportunity to communicate consciously with any surface dweller in that location. There are those living in the area who come to the hill for walks from time to time, but none have been aware of what this location represents. More clarity was eventually offered to our dear Aurelia about the nature of her favorite location, and the strong attraction she felt. Her love and high degree of respect for the sacredness of that site allowed us to unveil ourselves to her more openly and reveal in greater measure details of her former involvement with us in this sacred temple. In the fall of 2001, Aurelia performed a wedding ceremony in this location, consciously enrolling our full presence in the presence of the light realm. It was the first time since the sinking of Lemuria that a wedding ceremony had taken place in the physical octave directly within the location where our fifth dimension Temple of Union is situated. This was a most joyous moment for us, and we offered our full support. I, Anamar, merged with my beloved Aurelia during the ceremony. Unknown to her outer mind, Aurelia was preparing herself for a wonderful experience. Following her inner guidance, she suggested this special location to a twin flame couple who wanted her to officiate at their wedding ceremony. The Telosians, along with the Lemurian Council and the beings of the light realm, were very happy about this event. Literally hundreds of thousands of us, and millions from the invisible realm, attended this wedding in our etheric bodies. In a way, it was fortunate she could not see us because it could have been rather intimidating, considering the size of the crowd. It seems that everyone from Telos and the light realms of Mount Shasta were there, applauding the reactivation into the physical octave of the flame of love for twin flames from our temple. It was only after the wedding that we revealed more information about the true nature of the temple and the wonderful activation that took place for the planet during the ceremony. By following her heart and inner guidance, we were amused to see how Aurelia provided the opportunity for us to create this wondrous opening into the physical plane. The scenario we had been waiting for unfolded in a perfect sequence, without her knowing what was really taking place besides a wedding ceremony. This too made us all smile. Many of you have experienced marriage relationships as devastating, bringing more stress and disappointment than joy and sustained happiness. The reason is that stressful relationships are based on duality rather than the oneness of divine love. Unless a relationship is based on oneness, it can never fulfill the longing of the heart that you feel so deeply. Now, my friends, allow me to lecture you a little. As the guardian of the unfed flame of love, I have observed your relationships for a long time. For those of you looking for your beloved somewhere outside yourself, let me say this is not the way it will happen. Your beloved is also part of you. He or she may have a body in the outer world, but meeting your twin flame when one is not fully ready for that initiation is a bit tricky. It is not often in your best interest because the experience of the third dimension does not always offer compatibility of character and spirit, unless both parties have reached the same level of readiness and evolution. Listen to this carefully. Look for the love that you yearn for inside yourself first, in every cell and electron of your heart and soul. Begin first to develop a relationship in unity consciousness within yourself. It is all there awaiting your attention. Your divine counterpart lives within you. The relationship you seek is nothing more than the reflection of your direct relationship with your own divine self. When you learn to love yourself in every aspect of your essence, every aspect of your divinity, every aspect of your human experience, then that divine love for self becomes the ruler of your heart and life, and you will no longer look anywhere else. You will know that you have found it, and it will not really matter what form it takes. Your heart will feel full and completely satisfied. At that stage of development in your spiritual life, the mirror or reflection of perfect love for self will manifest itself tangibly in your life. This is divine law and cannot fail you. If it has not manifested in your life, either you are not ready for it or on the inner planes you have chosen to wait. It will show up in divine timing, and any waiting period will not matter because you will have united in your heart with the object of your yearning and your love. Once you have attained this state of divine love in your heart, nothing can be withheld from you, not even your twin flame. In the name of divine love, may I suggest that you begin looking for your beloved within yourself. This is the quickest way to be united with your twin flame. You do not have to put ads in the paper or visit a singles club. He or she will literally fall into your lap. You will not be able to avoid it. May you meet all your tests in the embrace of divine love. It is my pleasure to invite you to come to my temple at night where I give classes for those desiring to reunite with their twin flame. I am not offering to become a matchmaker, as you call it. We are willing to assist you in reconnecting with that wondrous aspect of self that you abandoned a long time ago, the very aspect that magnetizes your beloved and everything else you desire to you. We will not magnetize your beloved for you, but we will show you how to accomplish this for yourself. We will teach you the true meaning of divine union. Before you go to sleep at night, ask your guides to bring you to the Temple of Union to attend our classes. My fellow teachers and I will be there to receive you. I promise that we will have a delightful time together. If you do not remember your journeys with us, do not worry. With the thinning of the veils, many more of you will eventually open to the remembrance of your many delightful nightly adventures. I am Anamar, the guardian of the Temple of Union and the unfed flame of immortal love. Marriages in Telos. Many of you wonder about how we view our romantic relationships in Telos and if we have marriages and families like yours. Since we live very long lives and the potential for large families is great, careful planning for the benefit of all is of utmost importance. Unlike surface folks, no one is allowed to start a family in Telos until they have gained the maturity and the readiness to initiate such an important step. We do not allow children to give birth to children, so to speak, like you do in the third dimension. We have two different types of marriage in our society. The first one is a bonded marriage. Two people who are attracted to each other romantically decide to unite in a bonded marriage union that is not necessarily permanent. They get married and live together to learn from and with each other, to grow in maturity together, to experience life and to enjoy each other to the fullest. They do this only as long as they are both deeply happy and satisfied with the relationship. There is no obligation for them to stay together, and these unions are not necessarily a lifetime commitment. Couples engaged in a bonded marriage are not allowed to have children. The raising of children is not the primary goal of these marriages. These marriages can last anywhere from a few short years to several hundred years or longer. Birth control is not an issue for us. The birth of a child is considered a very precious and grand event for the incoming soul, and a child is conceived by invitation only. We have no such thing as an unwanted pregnancy in our society. A woman in telos would get pregnant only by intention, and only after serious and well-planned preparations. Sexual unions alone do not manifest pregnancy unless the invitation to a specific soul exists. What you are dealing with in your society with unwanted pregnancies through sexual union is the result of a distorted genetic mutation. This too will heal in time when your DNA coding becomes fully restored by the embracing of unconditional love of self and of all life forms. In a bonded marriage, couples may end their relationship at any time, without hurt feelings or obligations toward each other, and then start another one if they wish. This way, no one stays in a relationship for the wrong reason like you do in your society. Every couple in telos is happy because there is no reason to stay together unless there is a deep love and satisfaction to be with each other. These marriages are considered part of the many experiences that life and evolution offer. When a couple feels they have come to the completion of their time together, they thank each other for the time they have spent together on the path of life and they move on, always remaining good friends. All they need to do is apply to the Lemurian Council of Telos for dissolution of their marriage and it is granted without any dispute. It would be unthinkable for any of us to consider staying in a relationship unless there is total harmony, fulfillment and deep purpose. Our second type of marriage is a committed, or sacred, marriage. It is only in this type of marriage that couples are permitted to have children and apply to bring a new soul into the community. After a couple has been involved in a bonded marriage for several decades or a few hundred years, they may decide that they have experienced each other long enough to know with absolute certainty that their love for each other is flawless and long-lasting. They may then wish to make a lifetime commitment to each other. Since we have become immortal, a lifetime commitment for us would normally mean a very long time in our society, extending into thousands of years. In a committed marriage, there is no longer the option of dissolution of the marriage, or what you term divorce. For this reason, a couple already in a bonded marriage for a long time has to be very sure of their commitment to each other before they choose to engage in what is considered a permanent relationship. They stay together until such a time as one of them or both are ready to move on to a higher realm of evolution or service. In this case, one or both would leave telos. This would happen only after a long life together and after the original family has matured through several generations. In this type of marriage, 1, 2 or sometimes 3 children may be born. The gestation period for the mother-to-be is only 12 weeks. Since the couple has already lived together a long time in a bonded marriage, they have accomplished whatever they wanted to experience together as a couple. They are now ready for the next step and have gained enough maturity and know how to be accorded the privilege and honor of starting a family. Only to our more mature and more evolved people is the privilege of bringing forth children granted, giving birth to noble and more advanced souls, thus perpetuating an enlightened civilization. In our society, we have no orphans, nor children who are abandoned or raised with the difficulties a single parent has to face in your society. Our family life is so carefully and wisely planned that our children never have to suffer such traumas as being unwanted, neglected or abused. We have no children struggling to raise children. Each child is considered a precious gift from God, loved and honored not only by the parents, but also by the whole of our community. Our civilization is fully aware of the sacredness of the role of bringing forth children, and this is never undertaken lightly or without appropriate training. We pray that on the surface, you will soon start to honor the raising of children in a more enlightened and responsible way. Relationships and sexuality in telos Adama. Please talk about relationships between men and women in telos. How is sexuality handled between people of telos? How can people in the third dimension evolve toward these types of relationships? Greetings, my beloveds. It is a real delight for me and for my team to be spending time with you in your energy field as you read our words. It is our most heartfelt desire to impart a greater understanding of divine laws and their applications for you. The way we live our lives in telos does not differ greatly from any other galactic community in this solar system or this universe. We are all living and applying the universal laws which are the same for everyone. How life is expressed from civilization to civilization may vary to a greater or lesser degree, but the core principles are the same for everyone. You may call it unity or universal consciousness. Our relationships and sexual expression in telos reflect a consciousness much more evolved and mature than yours in the understanding of the various applications of love. To begin with, the curriculum for relationships is union, in oneness, in an embrace of the experience of divine love. For a very long time in your dimension, relationships have been based on duality consciousness. Now, dear ones, you have become weary of these types of relationships that do not work and do not fulfill your heart's desires. Your relationships, for the most part, have caused you various levels of pain and longing. You are now yearning to gain a greater understanding of relationship. Many of you are waking up to the distorted programming you hold about relationships and seeking to balance the masculine and feminine energies within your being. First of all, know that it all begins with you. Your significant other is simply a mirror for you to evolve with and learn from. No one can love you more than you love yourself, nor can you love someone else more than you love yourself. Consider this. Whenever you are looking for someone to give you the love that you are not willing to give to yourself, you create need. You must embody the appropriate balance to attract the type of relationship you yearn for, or the relationship will be based on neediness rather than oneness. This, my friends, will never work, at least not for very long. Remember that in an unsatisfying relationship, both partners mirror for each other the imbalances of neediness, of ownership, of unrealistic expectations, control, manipulation, and so on. You know the entire litany of complaints about relationships in your dimension even better than we do. Whenever people are whole and complete within self, with balanced feminine and masculine energies, they are in love with themselves and do not need someone else to fulfill them emotionally. They feel whole, happy, and successful. They exude the joy of life with or without a partner. They do not feel the emptiness within that being needy and out of balance produces. When this balance is achieved, then and only then will the I am of your being issue the call for the right relationship to appear in your life in alignment with your desire and your present pathway. This divine union, with the twin flame of your heart, can manifest in your life only by the permission of your higher self. In telos we honor ourselves such that none of us would ever accept or settle for a relationship that is less than 100% fulfilling on all levels. In our society, we consider each other equals and we honor each other's divinity and soul path. Though your society is gradually changing, and women are now opening to their feminine potential as equal partners, there are still too many women who tolerate inequality as well as verbal and physical abuse. Too many of you do not yet feel worthy of being loved, and you tolerate beatings, deprivation, and violation of your integrity and freedom. Too many of you still think that this is what you deserve, or you perceive abusive relationships as a normal way of life. Even in the USA, this consciousness still exists for many. It exists even more tragically in several countries on this planet where women have absolutely no rights. You know what and where I mean. You have seen it in your newspapers and television news. In our society, and in all evolved societies, men and women consider each other as two aspects of God. The woman represents the aspects of the Divine Mother and the man represents the Divine Father. There is honor and respect between couples at all times. This does not mean that they always agree, but even when there is a difference of desire or perspective, they honor each other's viewpoint and do not fight or argue over it. They do not have this kind of attachment to being right or wrong, and they do not love each other any less because of their differences of perspective. Couples spend as much time together as they wish. They have all the time they want to nurture, love, and show their appreciation for each other as partners. Because we work approximately 20 hours a week, and the rest of the time we are free to use our time as we wish, couples have much time to enjoy each other's company in their homes and in the many social and artistic gatherings in our community. They are never short of time to nurture each other in many creative ways. They love to lavish each other with little attentions, tenderness and affection. They express their sexuality and intimacy with each other when they choose, always in a beautiful, relaxed atmosphere. Relationships in telos are not subject to the physical hardships of survival and the financial difficulties that you have to deal with in your society. Relationships between men and women do not have the same level of stress, and it is easier for couples to be consistently loving and harmonious. Because of our love, our mature consciousness and our honoring of the earth, there is a constant flow of supply from the universe to fulfill our needs. This is what you are moving toward in the very near future. We do not have to earn money to pay rent or feed the children, or pay medical bills or taxes. All commodities of life are free for everyone. The tyranny of earning money in your world will soon come to an end, hopefully within the next 10 to 12 years, and your overall stress will diminish greatly. Tell us about relationships of young adults and teenagers. Experimental relationships are also permitted when our young people reach a certain age and their sexual hormones become active. We do not force them to suppress these natural desires. When they reach the age of 13 or 14, they are allowed to experiment with sexuality with each other under the supervision of the priesthood. These wise teachers prepare our youth to express their sexuality with maturity and responsibility. They are then allowed to go out on their own and experience what they have been taught. Their sexuality is always expressed with pure joy and delight in each other. Eventually, their youthful need to experience with more than one partner diminishes until there is the mature desire for commitment. In this way, our young adults in telos are free to experiment with their sexuality as part of their maturing process. There comes a time when two souls who wish to unite choose to make a commitment. It is usually a commitment for greater growth, not necessarily with the goal of permanence. When two souls wed in a committed marriage, they honor each other as part of the divine whole. Rarely do these relationships experience much stress, and may last from several years to several hundred years. If or when both parties feel completion in their experience together, they part in a very friendly and loving manner, and in the harmony of mutual agreement. They say to each other, "Thank you, my dear. It was wonderful to have had this opportunity for growth with you. Thank you for the love, the tenderness and the affection we have shared, and for the spiritual growth and the wisdom we have gained. We shall remain friends as we each go our separate ways to our next experience of life and soul evolution." Partners in telos are very loving toward each other. When two souls are in a committed marriage for a long time experiencing great love for one another after hundreds or thousands of years together, they are usually twin flames. Sooner or later, the couple applies to the Lemurian Council express their sexuality in telos. In a sense, our bodies are not as physically dense as yours, and we can merge with each other in a much deeper and more intimate way. When we unite, we merge our physical bodies as well as our chakras in a union of love. We regard the sexual act as a union with the divine, and all of our chakras participate, always in alignment with the heart, which brings a much expanded experience. Our sexual expression is based on engaging the fires of the heart first. In your sexual expression on the surface, you mostly engage only the first two chakras of creativity and survival. For those really in love with each other, you engage the heart chakra as well. In telos, we would never engage in a sexual act for the purpose of gaining favors or for manipulative reasons. Because of our level of evolution, we have many more chakras activated than you do. We have 12 main chakras fully activated, as well as each of their 12 sub-chakras. This means 144 chakras are engaged in our sexual expression. When two people merge together as the divine feminine and the divine masculine in an expression of divine love, the energy of union resonates through the whole solar system. It is felt by the Father, Mother, God. It becomes an act of the union of hearts merging with the Creator energy. This is how we view our sexuality. Distorted sexual practices. For a long time, we have watched your sexual expressions, from the highest to the lowest in vibration. We encourage you to re-evaluate the negative emotional repercussions of sexual encounters holding little or no love for the other. There are still countries where a woman's clitoris is removed when she is very young to ensure that she will never experience any sexual pleasure, her goddess aspect totally denied. In entire cultures, women have been denied sexual pleasure by the male energy, and by those who have manipulated your planet's genetics by mixing sexuality with pregnancy. Let me add something else. So many women on this planet have turned off their sexuality and their goddess energies because they have been abused, misused, desecrated, violated, repressed and dishonored. In past ages, women in general felt that they were of little value beyond service as a sex object or a material possession for men's physical and emotional needs. It is now time for both genders to heal those deep-seated wounds. The bringing forth of children. We are totally free to enjoy our sexuality without the burden or apprehension of unwanted pregnancies. Pregnancies manifest only when a soul is invited by intention to evolve in our community. The pregnancy then takes place energetically in the subtle body and manifests physically. Only in sacred marriages are couples allowed to bring forth children. When a couple makes a decision to have a child, they go to the temple to discuss their intention with the head priest and apply for permission to receive this privilege. Only couples who have attained high spiritual maturity are allowed to bring forth souls into incarnation. This is the way it is in all enlightened civilizations. When permission is granted for a couple to bring forth a new soul into our community, it is considered a very sacred calling. The parents-to-be are then in direct connection with one or more candidates from the light realm for that special and inner level between the incoming soul and the future parents. There is approximately 6 to 12 months of preparation for conception. Soul path and purposes are studied carefully until all is in readiness for that sacred commitment. It would be unthinkable in our society to bring a child into incarnation without first implementing the highest and most complete preparations. We are totally aware of the impact the birth of a new soul will create in our community. When the soul is conceived, the gestation period is 12 weeks. The parents temporarily move to the temple for full-time preparation for the event. During that time, the parents-to-be lavish each other with the purest love they are capable of as a couple. They listen to music that elevates their vibration and surrender themselves into exquisite beauty. The members of the temple priesthood honor and welcome the soul who is destined to become part of our community. Our children are always wanted and desired. During the gestation period, the soul waiting to be born feels fully the love of the parents and of the community. Our children are born slightly larger than yours and they grow more rapidly. They also grow in wisdom and knowledge. Though they may experience some of the difficulties children do on the surface, especially at puberty, we have many ways to assist them to mature and grow through their problems. Each child's pathway is always honored, and each child receives all the attention she requires. Is there anything that you can share with those of us in the third dimension on how we can evolve into the same state of consciousness? Well, it is coming, dear one. It is coming with increased awareness and awakened consciousness. Those who are reading our information are grasping the meaning and want to create this kind of life for themselves. They want to live in this kind of enlightened society. As you are aligning with these principles of higher consciousness, you are also creating it. It will evolve in the coming years. In the near future, more and more people will open their consciousness to the information we are sharing. As this number increases, you will see things start to change rather rapidly. You know that intentions create reality. When enough people desire change and formulate firm intentions to create a new reality for themselves and for humanity, it will simply happen. It is important at this time that each one of you becomes an ambassador of love, peace and harmony for yourself, for humanity and for the planet. It is important that you begin sharing the information that you feel makes a difference in your lives with those around you. The time to be silent in your cocoon is over. You all need to shine your love, your light, and your knowledge to all of those on your pathway. The more you shine and radiate your new understanding, the more it will expand within you and the planet. This is how evolution moves on. We have noticed among the people of the French population who have read our books, that there has been quite a shift in awareness and a substantial increase of desire for enlightened living. We have also noticed men and women honoring each other more. Everyone will have to start embracing their divinity and balancing their polarities, whether they are in a male or a female body. Do you understand that? When you are aligned with your inner polarities and you meet someone who is similarly aligned, you will begin living new experiences in relationships that will bring you much greater satisfaction. Right knowledge and information create food for the soul that brings transformation. As more people become aware and open their hearts to these concepts, the 100th monkey effect will reach the mass consciousness. Watch for the leaps in consciousness and lifestyle that people on this planet will embrace in a few years' time. The greater the number of people who embrace this type of information, the faster higher consciousness will evolve for humanity. These concepts of divine law are now in an embryonic state in the heart of the few. As you share your new discoveries with those who are open to it, they will germinate and grow. Once enough people hold the desire in their heart for this kind of leap in consciousness, you will not be able to stop the growth from taking place. It is just a question of informing a sleeping population through writings and teachings, and bringing recognition of the truths that have been hidden from you for so long. As the population wakes up to their spiritual destiny, you will experience a tremendous acceleration of light for manifesting the promised golden age of love, peace, enlightenment and prosperity for all in your world.